This week's vlog is for my not-for-profit colleagues, and my heart goes out to you because that is the world that I come from. How can we make sure that we're leveraging recognition? Because not only is it free or almost completely free, it is also one of the most important strategies we need to be using to keep our workforce engaged and retain our top talent in this talent shortage. But not only that, if you're a not-for-profit, your staff and leaders are going the extra mile every single day for the betterment of the communities and the people that they serve. So at the very least, we need to make sure that they feel valued and appreciated. I know you know that, so how can we make sure that it happens? Well, one of the things I'm going to suggest you do is take a look at how you are spending your recognition dollars. Is it all legacy programs? Or in fact, have we managed to match up how our current workforce most desires to be recognized and validated? Oftentimes what we see, and this is not unique just to the not-for-profit sector, that we have programs in place that we spend a lot of money on, and they may not in fact match up with how employees most want to be recognized. The most common way we often use in the not-for-profit sector is years of service. Well, I'll tell you, recently the Conference Board of Canada updated their findings on the Power of Appreciation study. And what they found across sectors, and particularly in the not-for-profit sector, when we are doing recognition, we're spending almost all of our money in areas where it's not timely, it's not always necessarily felt as sincere, and we're having to make cutbacks. So if you have a legacy program like a Long Service Awards, and you're having to take those gold watches and make them smaller, and I'll be honest, in an organization I used to work for, I was one of the people responsible for having to revamp our recognition program. Knowing what I know now, having done many recognition audits and needs assessments and revamping programs, not only across Canada, not only not-for-profit sector, but across the world, I'll tell you, we need to first go to the people who get those awards, and we need to ask them, what way do you want to be recognized? And what's working about the current systems? You see, we made a lot of changes about what we thought that people would want without asking them first. Huge consequences. And there's a way of working within your existing budget without it causing huge strife in our workforce. So that's the first thing I would say. Number two, if we are going to be really leveraging recognition and it's sincere, it's timely, and then it's meaningful, how are people practicing it on a day-to-day basis? Oftentimes what we find, again, the same study showed, and I see this every day when I speak with clients and when people approach me after speaking engagements, we have gatekeepers in our recognition process. Somebody has to sign off on something. We need to send it somewhere first before it gets forwarded to the employee. A manager is expected to do the recognition or to hand off a thank you card or an acknowledgement from a client or a consumer. Why do we have so many steps in place? Is there a way of being able to reduce some of the bottlenecks in our process? People are busy and they don't have time. So is there a way of being able to reduce the cumbersome nature of our programs? The third most important thing I would say is we see the value of peer-to-peer recognition. Certainly, people want to hear from their managers as well, so I'm not trying to negate that. And we can't focus on one without the other. Peer-to-peer and manager-to-staff recognition is essential. How can you start? By role modeling it. Starting today, recognize a peer from another department, somebody that is your peer within your own team. How are you demonstrating recognition every day? How can you approach your team or other departments about trying to increase the amount of peer-to-peer recognition that's happening? And I'll tell you, one of the fastest, easiest ways to do it is to gossip about people. Resource gossip, that is. Say positive things about people when they're not present, and some of the time it'll get back to them. And don't think that this is just a woman thing. We resource gossip men and women, young and people at the end of their career, all the time. And why? Because when we gossip, it's social glue. So make sure that you're positively speaking about people when they're not present. That costs nothing and has a huge impact. The important thing to remember, not-for-profit colleagues, is that recognition is something that you can do at any moment. If you see somebody doing something that you would like to see repeated, that's your moment to say, acknowledge them. And it's not just good job, specifically what did you notice that you want to see more of? I'm raising teenagers, and I know I have to do this every single day. Wow, you went and you loaded the dishwasher without me even having to ask you. Wow, you really spoke positively about your teacher. How can you be practicing recognition in your family at home, in your family at work, in your family in your community, in easy, authentic ways? Every moment of the day, every time you see something that's worth acknowledging, I encourage you to leverage that opportunity. Jump onto my website anytime. Download all kinds of free tools and resources that you can use to boost recognition for virtually no effort, virtually no cost, if any cost at all. My name's Sarah McVanel. Please share your best tip and strategy in the comment section. And in the meantime, be well and be great.